So, who is the man authorities have been in question of uh, since January 2021? They asked if he had any involvement in Rachel's disappearance when it comes to who played a part in her going missing, right? There's a man, and I'm wondering if they're, because see, to not really know his identity, right? That in itself will lead to even more and more questions, right? Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one. And I'm a Discovery influencer. That's in fact the fact. So, January 10th, 2002 is the date of when Rachel Louise Cooke went missing. Notice I said 2002. It's 2021 now, right? That's a very long time, right? So she was seen by her family when it's asked, well, who seen her last, right? She was seen by her family. That was before she was last seen. So her family seen her first, of course, but then she was last seen 200 yards away from her place of living, right? Her residence, right? Walking to the place of living is when and where she was last seen, right? You're going back to a place where you live in, right? So Rachel visited her parents' home in Georgetown, Texas. Such occurred before she was last seen, because it's well, what was the thing? What is the thing? What is the thing that was taking place before she was last seen? You're on vacation. Rachel was on winter vacation from school, right? During the time of disappearance, she left her family home at 9:30 a.m. to go on a 4-mile run. So you leave to go on a 4-mile run. Could she have met anyone along the way? Because to go on a 4-mile run and then to never be seen again is to ask, well, she was attractive. Could anyone? That's almost like missing children's uh cases. Okay, so a person goes on a 4-mile run, usually not a young child, right? Uh, Possibly teenagers. But then, could there have been someone that pulled up and said, you want to ride or something like that, and she possibly say, well, I'm going on a 4-mile run? So something about that right there doesn't make sense. Right where I said, because to go on a 4-mile run, and oftentimes people do see beautiful women and then ask them, do you want to ride? Do you need a ride anywhere? I can take you, this and that, right? Asking if you need a ride and you're on a 4-mile run, or on your way to a 4-mile run, right? The story, I don't know, something about the story, because you were last seen 200 yards. You were last seen 200 yards away from where you were going back to the residence, as in home, right? How are you going home, but at the same, okay, let me get this right. She left her family home at 9:30 a.m. to go on a 4-mile run. So that's to say she could have been seen, because see, the eyewitness thing plays a part, and even sometimes that's an issue, right? You left your family home at 9:30 a.m. to go on a 4-mile run. So that's to say you were off the 4-mile run if you were seen going home and 200 yards away from home. The story has to be figured out so that a person can see fully. Like, logically, right? Because that 4-mile run stood out to me. It made me question if a person, say, was offered a ride once again. by someone. And then eyewitnesses may or may not have seen her. They could have seen her, they could have seen somebody else, right? The 4 mile run, as in where did the 4 mile run, where was it specifically located at? Because if it was out of the eyes of the public, a kidnapper could have stood there. 4 mile run. The location of the 4 mile run. And say something be an issue with eyewitnesses, because not all eyewitness accounts are in fact factual, as in sometimes people think they seen someone and they didn't see someone, right? That's known, right? Some people look alike. They say everybody has a twin, who knows, right? But yes, location of the 4 mile run. Okay, I'm trying to think because I'm trying to see it visually. If she did make it to 200 yards away from home, right? Off of that 4 mile run. Because there's people that do 4 mile runs depending on the locations and have gotten lost in woods. I said that in multiple videos of mine. Depending on where a 4 mile run, that's really not that far, right? 4 miles, right? It's really not. Maybe it was on a street location. 4 mile run. Um, Let me see. Because a person would even question if they even got to that location as well, making it on the 4 mile run. Did they ever get there to the 4 mile run? Could something have occurred before they even got to that 4 mile run? That's something that most wouldn't want to question. Were there anything that could have taken place or went wrong even before she started her footing at the 4 mile run? She might, or might, she could have did the 4 mile run. She might not have. Something else could be in the story that is missing from the story. Because some of these disappearances and all the rest, right? It's always something. And then to be missing since 2002, right? You do have people that say leave and then never return home, right? They go do something else, as in go live some other life, no longer keeping in contact with family, right? I'd question even that pertaining to this story. But there is something, yeah, the 4 mile run. Because to be on a street and you're doing the 4 mile run, as I say, you would be seen along the way, possibly running. And I'm thinking someone would have seen that. That's why it stood out to me. To do 9:30 a.m. That's enough where the sun could be shining. It could be light outside, and usually it is, right? And there's usually some type of traffic, as in depending on where the area is. If it's too much of a quiet street, then maybe not. But even if there's if you're neighborhood area, outside neighborhood area, depending on the location, is to ask how busy, how quiet is that area pertaining to even traffic, as in one car comes through and then that car sees somebody, because somebody had to see something, because even there was an eyewitness enough to say that she was 200 yards away, right? Someone would have they would have seen her on the 4 mile run at some time, and not just an eyewitness seeing her 200 yards away, because a person could go outside, not in the most busiest areas, right? Somewhere that's probably less quiet, and a person could go on a 4 mile run. Somewhere in that time, Somebody, if it's surrounded by houses, if it's surrounded by a business, if it's surrounded by anything where somebody can make their way through on car or in car or on foot, right? They would have seen her on that 4 mile run at some time, I'm thinking. And then to have no one say that they seen her on the 4 mile run. That goes back to even the eyewitness account, as in if it was accurate or not, right? I mean, we see people, you see people, I'm sure, from time to time who run. If it were near houses where her run was located, right? Anybody could have looked out the window and seen someone. Someone could have came out their house, got into their vehicle to drive off and seen her do the 4 mile run, right? To be in any location doing any 4 mile run is enough for someone to see you. Because that's a stretch. It just is. 4 miles. It's long, but then it's really not, right? But somewhere in that had to be some vehicles or something, right? So back to my opening question: could the man authorities are in question of, could he have had something to do with Rachel's disappearance? The man I questioned in the opening. Tips: how there's tips provided by or provided to law enforcement, right? The tips investigated by law enforcement led to the man being questionable, right? No one knows his full identity, as I stated before. It was just stated that he lived in the Georgetown area and would travel to various cities in Texas. He could work in, he possibly does, right? To not really know his identity, but the information is there pertaining to. No one knows his full identity, but the information is there because to be law enforcement and in question of him is to find out. You got to go out here and find out, question people, try to get more information on him. And so that person they stand in question of is stated he works in the horse and cattle industry. That's all that is known on him. Yeah. Because of that traveling, and that's another reason why too they might authorities might be in question of him, because he's known to travel throughout the George. Okay, if you're a person who say travels to various cities in Texas and a female goes missing, right? A woman, even if it were a man who went missing, right? Law enforcement is going to question you on that. I'm having a sticky situation, as in my screen is not moving the way. Let me pause that. Yeah, so going back to that, you're going to stand in question because something doesn't add up about the story. A person who's able to travel all through, that makes it even more questionable. Because if you're traveling like that, as I say, if you ever kidnapped her or had something to do with her, did you ever move her body or something to another location or something? Or if she's alive, take her somewhere outside of where she went missing, right? Stuff like that. So that's basically it. It's kind of hard to pick apart. It's not really, but yeah. Because yeah, that various that stood out too. Him going and being around, involved in traveling to various cities in Texas, right? Someone could end up missing with that, right? So, dear viewers, let me know what you think and feel about the video. Let me know who you think could have been involved with her disappearance, and do you think the man authorities' questions could have played a part in her disappearance? Let me know, and may you enjoy your day. I will in fact enjoy mine, and I'm gone for now. I didn't go to the next, yeah, because the screen paused up. So what I did was I paused it as well. You pause, I pause. it locked up. So yeah, that's basically it. Enjoy your day, dear viewers. I will in fact enjoy mine, and I'm gone for now. One.